Anthony Joshua beat Jake Paul in a boxing match on Netflix, and this has given Anthony Joshua a big, huge fan base. And in all honesty, I'm happy that casual boxing fans have just found out about Anthony Joshua because this gives Anthony Joshua more opportunity, more success in the future. But there is a problem with this that I can't get my mind off, and I have to talk about it. Anytime you have a fan base like boxing or American football to where, the whole fan base is male dominated, we all know our roles. Anytime you have a male dominated community like American football or boxing, we all know our roles, if that makes sense. Meaning that if you're in the community like boxing or American football, we all have our conversations that we get into every now and then, like who's the greatest boxer of all time. Oh, I think Floyd's the greatest boxer of all time. No, I think Terrence Crawford's the greatest boxer of all time. No, I think it's Sugar Ray Robinson that's the greatest boxer of all time. We all have our priorities straight, if that makes sense. We don't care about race or gender. For example, if Anthony Joshua was caught taking a picture with Donald Trump, we wouldn't have a problem with it unless, he was hanging out with like Prime Minister of Israel or something. I don't know, maybe we'll have a problem with that. We don't care about the politics or the gender stuff that they believe in. As long as they don't shove their weird ideologies in front of our face and force it upon us, we don't have no problem with them. We could all live in harmony. But if we were to go into detail about other male-dominated communities like American football or even the video game industry, there is sort of a formula that happens whenever you bring in a casual fan base migrating into the male-dominated space, like football. If we were to look into American football, obviously football is one of the most popular sports out there, but in recent times, it's been proven that even though American football is really popular, it could level up to the next level. And you could bring in more viewers, more casual fans to get into the sport. And the way it happened, they brought in a really popular singing icon who has a really crazy, obsessed fan base that's mainly gay people or women come into the sport. And this happened all because of Taylor Swift. She came into the sport because she started dating a football player. And since Taylor Swift has a crazy female-dominated fan base, they confidently went to the football community and started to make their territory known. And this became a problem for a lot of die-hard football fans. And a lot of these casuals, mainly like Taylor Swift fans, who are only watching the sport because of Taylor Swift, they don't even know why these football fans are so offended or angry at this whole situation. And it all goes back to the Great Shift. Having two different communities colliding against each other, trying to adapt, but they can't because they both have two different priorities. I have studied the Taylor Swift community, and they have different priorities than, your average football fan does. They care about things that men really don't care about. For example, if Taylor Swift were to go on to take a picture with Donald Trump and post her on her Instagram, hey, what's up, y'all? Chilling with the Orange Man. Her own fan base would go crazy and they would try to take her down, cancel her, make sure she can never make a song ever again. You're gonna see TikToks of diehard Taylor Swift fans burning album vinyls and like start screaming, like whenever Donald Trump became president type of reaction. And if you were to bring that community and bring them into another space to where they don't really care about that stuff, they don't really care about politics or gender in that way, they won't go to an extent to end an athlete's career. Like men, like average football fans, like boxing fans, we don't really care about political views that way to the point where we want to silence you and end your career. And if you were to bring that crazy obsessed fan base that Taylor Swift has into football, you're gonna have a problem. Because as a diehard football fan, you know that these Taylor Swift fans, they're not here to watch who's the greatest linebacker of all time. They're not here to watch Patrick Mahomes' great plays. They're here to watch Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce get into it on the big screen. And when you bring that fan base, the community crumbles. It starts becoming more sensitive. The ecosystem of American football, they start to have their priorities different. Now, since this big army of Taylor Swift fans started to get into the football community, so they have to change the rules. Like maybe don't sing the American anthem because Taylor Swift fans, they don't really like America and they hate Donald Trump, so like maybe we shouldn't sing the American anthem because we might get canceled all over Twitter. You get to start to notice that things start to change just because a really popular singer who has a really sensitive fan base is coming into the picture. Like as men, we don't really care about political views in that sense as long as you don't act like a nuisance. But how does this connect to Anthony Joshua? We have all noticed that Anthony Joshua has gained a massive benefit over this fight with Jake Paul. But the real benefit that we saw here was the amount of women stargazing over Anthony Joshua. They instantly loved the guy because he's a Greek god, tall, strong, handsome, rich, successful boxer. But that's not the problem here for me. I'm not saying as a woman that you can't find Anthony Joshua attractive. I find Anthony Joshua attractive. But it gets to a point where a line gets crossed and it starts getting weird. I started noticing that a lot of these women who are thirsting over this man all have something in common, which is these women are all single with kids. You have women who hate men, but only have an exception to a man when he's like tall, handsome, basically the top 1%. Or a lot of these women have a really strong, liberal, political ideology. These women have such a strong political, liberal ideology to the point where if they were to find that Anthony Joshua says something pretty logical as a man, if you were to go on a talk show host and they find clips of him in a talk show host saying that, listen, as a man, I don't care what situation a woman's in, but they should never abort a baby. You know, that's just my opinion. If these women who are thirsting over Anthony Joshua finds any sort of clip around those lines, just really logical, simple ideologies that Anthony Joshua could have, these women would go crazy. They would try to cancel this guy. They would probably go make tweets about, I was attracted by this Greek goddess, but not anymore because I found that he's low-key a Republican. Because that's what these people do. The target audience who finds Anthony Joshua attractive just because of this Netflix fight, they're willing to do that. They're willing to go through those lengths. The point I'm trying to make is that these women who are coming into the sport of boxing, who are thirst trapping Anthony Joshua, making these weird edits that they usually do, they could be a problem for the boxing community. Because I've seen this way too many times in the video game industry, in American football, in soccer, in Fortnite. I've seen this situation, this exact same formula happen to where you maybe have an attractive guy go viral all over the internet or something, and that gives these crazy liberal women, that makes them want to get into the community. And what usually happens is these women start to put on their own little rules. They'll get attached to something so quickly, but as soon as they realize that, hey, maybe this guy's a little bit Republican leaning. Hey, maybe he doesn't like abortion. Maybe he's a Christian. Maybe he took a picture with Donald Trump back in 2016. These women will go crazy. They'll try to cancel that person. They'll try to just change the whole ecosystem of boxing. And I'm here to do a warning to all my fellow boxing fans who love the sport for what it is. If we continue to allow these women to get into this community of boxing, we're gonna see some weird things going on. And I'm already seeing it happen. Like, I remember I saw a couple of tweets of a girl saying, I thought all the attractive men were gone. Where did this guy come from? And then I saw another dude tweet, does this guy have any homophobia history or domestic violence abuse? Like, what are these people talking about? These guys have completely different priorities. So I'm just warning a lot of the people who are huge boxing fans out there, man or woman, that if we continue seeing these people on our ecosystem, we may see a different priority be put in place. And to any of the liberal women that are watching this, I have a few rules for you. And one of the rules that I have is to lay off the thirst traps, you know? Because I've seen it with straight up video game characters. I've seen it with Fortnite skins. I've seen it with Roblox. I've seen it with all sorts of different walks of life. F1 racing, American football. Like, you guys love to make thirst trap edits. And it honestly infects the community. Especially a really masculine, dominated fan base sport like boxing. We don't need to see them shenanigans. I don't want to see a thirst trap edit of Floyd Mayweather like, like, I don't want to see that stuff. And also, I don't want no bisexual or gay ships that happen into the community. Because this is what happens a lot. You could take someone like Anthony Joshua, right? And Eddie Hearn, his boxing promoter, and you're going to start seeing videos of liberal women who have no idea about boxing or they're not educated on boxing, start saying stuff like, I think Eddie Hearn and Anthony Joshua, I think they're lovers. I think they could be a gay couple. Is Anthony Joshua bisexual by chance? Like, they're just gonna start saying weird stuff like that. Listen, I don't care if you're a Republican or liberal or whatever sort of political ideology that you have, as long as it doesn't affect the ecosystem and masculine dominated communities like boxing. Whether you watch the sport for fun, whether you're a diehard fan, whether you just watch a fight because of Ryan Garcia, because of Anthony Joshua, because they're good looking, or maybe because Canelo is fighting and that's the only time you really watch boxing is because of the big fights. Whatever reason you like boxing, it doesn't really matter to me as long as you don't make your rules be put in place and change the ecosystem forever. My name's Amin Zamali, and I'm out. Peace.